I'm Griffin Logue. I work here at MCC's Red Mountain campus. I am the campus's exhibits curator, and what that means is basically that I care for all the wildlife that we keep in various terrariums and aquariums on our campus. I also care for a wildlife refuge featured in the center of our campus, which is known as the CIENEGA Wildlife Habitat. Additionally, I take our wildlife, our animals in the terrariums out into the community, and I do different presentations and outreach to engage the community in environmental education. Our campus here at Red Mountain was founded with an environmental ethic, and in dedication to that, we hoped to reach the community by engaging them with keeping different wildlife species native to the state of Arizona and showing them different wildlife habitats that they might not otherwise be aware of. When we built the Saguaro building in 2009, we decided to integrate 3 different terrariums into the design of that building. We have a large lobby terrarium in the center of the Saguaro lobby. In 2 of our classrooms, we have terrariums that are built into the walls so you can see them from both outside in the hallway and inside the classroom. This provides a place for students to learn and study and observe the behaviors of these different animals and wildlife. There's a lot to love here at my job at Red Mountain. First of all, I love getting to work with the wildlife on a daily basis, and in that I love seeing the students learn and interact with the wildlife. We'll have people come into the campus that are terrified of snakes when they get here, and as they go along throughout the semester, they get attached to the different species they have, and they love watching their different interactions and behaviors. I also love taking our wildlife out in the community. It's really fun to see the community's faces light up when they get to handle a native snake or lizard or something that they haven't even had contact with before. And with that kind of appreciation helps them understand those animals better and want to protect them out in the wild. Another thing I love about my job is caring for the CIENEGA habitat. It makes me feel great to know that here at Red Mountain we're conserving different Arizona native species of fish that are endangered and a species that's at risk, the lowland leopard frog. With those species, these captive assurance populations, what we're trying to do is breed them to get to the point that the population is robust enough that we can take selections of those populations and use them to repopulate wild areas or to start new refuge populations at other existing locations. In the future, we'd love to take our CIENEGA habitat and our various terrariums and apply them to have even more educational value. We would love to incorporate the CIENEGA into more of our classroom exercises to get the faculty really engaged in getting out there with students to study different aspects of the CIENEGA, different water quality. You can use statistics to learn about the fish populations, and it has all sorts of applications for biology, geography, and other science disciplines. Different groups from high schools could come out here to learn. We could have different community organizations come out, and although we do some tours and presentations here currently, there's just even more that we can do in our future to make the CIENEGA an important aspect for our whole local community. The CIENEGA at Mesa Community College's Red Mountain campus is a recreation of nature, mostly built with recycled materials. Many of the plants, and even the broken branches and cactus skeletons, are salvaged flora from surrounding desert. Native plants in the pool help clean the water, making it safe for fish and other creatures. The water is primarily runoff from the roof of an adjacent building, collected in a 2,000-gallon underground cistern. Gravity does the rest, creating a stream that flows through the pools back into the underground cistern. Our CIENEGA is an educational resource, allowing us to observe wildlife in a semi-natural environment. Refugial populations of some of Arizona's endangered species living in our CIENEGA serve as a source for reintroduction into native habitats. Many of the fish, lizards, and tortoises are native rescues. Unlike most of the fish now found in Arizona's waters, the desert pupfish, Gila top minnow, and longfin dace are among the species native to the state. The desert pupfish and Gila top minnow are here through collaborative conservation efforts of the Arizona Game and Fish Department, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and the Phoenix Zoo, all working together to create captive breeding to restore wild populations. Desert pupfish got its name from the male's behavior during mating season, which resembles a playful puppy. During breeding season, which occurs between April and October, male desert pupfish develop iridescent blue bodies and yellow-orange tails. Males become very territorial and aggressive, chasing away all other fish except spawning females. Females lay 1 egg at a time, producing up to 800 eggs in a breeding season. During cooler temperatures, desert pupfish burrow into the mud and become dormant. The Gila top minnow has a lifespan of approximately 1 year. To accommodate for the short lifespan, Gila top minnows reproduce several times in that year. Females give birth to live young and are able to carry several broods in various stages of development at the same time, with typically 10 to 15 young per brood. The appropriately named top minnow spends the majority of its time near the water's surface, feeding on small crustaceans and insect larvae, particularly mosquito larvae, as well as plants and decaying matter. Despite its small size, the longfin dace is rarely swept away during flooding. As flows increase, longfin dace move to the margins of the current and wait out the rushing waters. During times of drought, they survive under moist algal mats or under logs and rocks, ready for the next storm to replenish the stream. Longfin dace are able to breed year-round, but breed primarily during the spring. They are known for their high fertility rate. Eggs hatch after 4 days. The lowland leopard frog is typically brown, although sometimes greenish with large spots on its back and legs. Lowland leopard frogs breed from January until May, and again in late summer and fall. Females deposit their eggs in shallow water, often attaching them to plants. Like all true frogs of the Ranidae family, lowland leopard frogs undergo a complete metamorphosis from egg to tadpole to adult. This process frequently takes 3 to 4 months, but can take up to 9 months or more if it occurs during winter. Tadpoles eat algae, plant tissue, and small organisms in the water, while adults primarily eat insects. The Sonoran desert tortoise is not typically found in a cienega, but is instead well adapted to the extremes of desert living. Their ancestors developed hard shells and thick legs to provide armored protection from predators. Sharp claws and strong limbs allow them to dig underground homes, where consistent temperatures keep them warm in the winter and cool in the summer. Sonoran desert tortoises spend up to 95% of their time in their burrows or other shelters, emerging only to bask, eat, and breed. Breeding occurs during Arizona's monsoon season. Sonoran desert tortoises eat leaves, stems, and flowers from desert plants. While many of these plants are indigestible to other animals, desert tortoises have beneficial bacteria in their digestive systems that help break down the plant material. Tortoises get most of their water from the plants they eat and stored in their bladders, allowing them to survive more than a year without needing a drink, though they will drink when water is available. Sonora mud turtles often look green in color due to a covering of algae. However, the smooth shell of the turtle is actually light or yellow-brown in coloration. The majority of their lives are spent submerged underneath underwater objects, but from time to time they come up to breathe and bask on land. If the water in their habitat dries up, they may migrate up to 8 kilometers to find a new water source. Or they may go into a dormant state in a crevice in the stream bank, or in the mud of a stream or pond. The common chuckwalla is found primarily in the Mojave and Sonoran deserts, typically in areas with boulder piles and rocky outcrops. Chuckwallas use these rock piles for protection. When disturbed or threatened, they quickly retreat into rock crevices and wedge themselves securely by gulping air to inflate their bodies. Warm days are spent basking in the sun on exposed rocks and searching for food, mostly leaves, buds, flowers, fruit, and occasionally insects. Extremely hot days and cold nights are spent under rocks or in underground burrows, which offer protection from severe temperatures and predators. Males typically sit atop boulders, defending their territory and their harem of females. Unlike most lizards, the desert iguana remains active during the hottest part of the day, when there is less competition for food and fewer active predators. Desert iguanas are found in the Mojave and Sonoran deserts in areas dominated by creosote, an important source of food and cover. They climb creosote branches to feed on leaves and flowers and burrow under the roots to avoid predators. When it becomes too cold, desert iguanas retreat to their burrows to hibernate during late fall and winter. Some of the other lizards featured in the cienega include the eastern collared lizard, desert spiny lizard, and the common side-blotched lizard. They are often found basking in the sun on the rocks and branches around the cienega habitat.